differently abled, differently.
Welcome back. Uptyke Education officially launched a digital content platform for learners with disabilities for inclusive learning experiences. Take a look.
Ways of getting information have improved over time, with publications now available in soft copy in the digital platform.
The best thing you could get down in the village was a printed book, which you'll be lucky to see the cover. Actually, it will be starting on page 26 or page 20 something, and you read the story and enjoy without knowing the title of the story. It didn't matter anyway, as long as you are reading something. I am a publisher of books, educational books, so much tied to the Kenya Curriculum Center, because that's where we take our books for approval. But after the books are approved, we get to understand that there's another stage the books should go through so that they become accessible to some segment of the population, and that's a special needs segment.
And we have developed learning materials for the KBC curriculum that have been adopted in the mainstream schools by government. But then a challenge came. This content we say is accessible and inclusive for all. But what does that mean? Just because you package and publish books for all doesn't mean that you meet the needs of the learner's specific learning disabilities.
She's going to take that book and do some adaptation to it so that when you touch somewhere, there's a movement. And there's nothing that has excited me since I learned that that can happen. Well, save for the fact that I had already seen things moving on a screen of a phone.
Most of our learners with disabilities join school when their time is far spent. And looking at learners with hearing impairment, Lillian, they come to school and that is where they learn their language, their mother tongue or language of catchment area in school. Alongside that, they are learning English and other learning areas. So I believe that such an initiative should be able to provide a basis through which the learner, including the parent, can access this content and make sure that the learner is founded as early as possible before they move to higher levels of learning.
The Ministry of Education is tapping on these innovations to ensure that education is inclusive.
The government of Kenya is committed to the full realization of education as a basic human right for all Kenyans, as reaffirmed in the Constitution of Kenya 2010. If you look at Article 53, Part 1B, there's a lot of emphasis laid on the right of a child to access free and compulsory basic education.
To make this digital learning be effective, one of them is to train the children on how to use these devices that we have. For example, the tablet that we have in school, you find that some of them, they don't know how to use it. So training must be done in order to make this learner be well equipped with the skill on how to handle them properly. Then the teacher also must be digitally skilled for him or her to handle.
There's still a gap in terms of how we support schools to have policies and implement those policies so that learners are able to use technology depending on their needs.
You go to public schools with these solutions and then you realize there's an actual group of learners left behind, and it's because the different players that would come together for them to be able to catch up with the technology are not working together. So I think that is the biggest gain that would come from this, is that we would actually be able to include all learners and include them meaningfully in education.
A lot has changed, and we are intentional to make sure that the curriculum is value-based, has guiding principles, and also theoretical approaches that will help us to realize a holistic learner in this country.
Uptake seeks to include children with disabilities in the learning process.
And if you look at the Uptyke solution, you will notice three things that look at you. So there's autism, then there's HI, and there's VI. That means that for teachers who have, say, 30 children with disabilities in the class, one of the things they complain about the most is children with multiple disabilities. So do I deal with this one who's autistic? Do I deal with that one who... So with tech comes the ability for each child to take the path that matches their needs.
The fact that we are talking about inclusive education doesn't mean that we have forfeited other modes of placement for our children. Please remember that during assessment and after diagnostic assessment, functional assessment, reporting, we have various modes of placement for our learners. There are those who will thrive in the age-based curriculum pathway, with adaptation, with and without adaptation, and there are those who may not thrive within the classroom setting and they will follow the stage-based curriculum pathway. So we hope that the content that we digitize, develop, and adapt will benefit learners following both curriculum pathways.
However, the innovations done are not final and improvements are welcomed to accommodate each and everyone.
The idea that we floated at first was meant for learners with disabilities or children with disabilities only. Then we said, wait, inclusive education is beyond disabilities. We have learners with other special educational needs that need to be factored in. We have both physical, evident disabilities that you can see and say, oh, Sheila is a lady with visual impairment. And there are other disabilities that you may never tell. As I stand here today, and some of you know what I'm going to say, you will never know that I am highly dyscalculic. I even don't know how I passed my exams, but maybe it's because I'm born again and the Holy Spirit performed some miracles. Many years down the line, I assure you, I only calculate my salary, increment, and a few coins that I receive from such activities.
Assistive technology has come and is doing a very good thing for persons with disabilities in terms of learning and even in terms of movement.
We want to be an exclusive publisher for digital learning content for learners with disabilities. And our focal point at the moment is learners who are deaf, learners with visual impairments, learners who suffer from intellectual disabilities, and autism. And we want now even to get more partners to publish for other disabilities, especially the hidden disabilities.